Whenever people think about innovation, I see most people think about information technology. Sometimes they're talking about product or design. How do you define innovation?
That's a really good question. I have the framework from green to gold of kind of value buckets. And this is not just about sustainability, that in essence, if you're working in a company, you're working in a business, you're trying to create value in one of four basic ways. You're lowering costs or reducing risk. That's kind of reducing the downside. Or you're building the upside, revenues, brand value. And this is a model that my co-author and I developed sort of off of Michael Porter's. He basically has kind of two of those, either revenue or cost in a way, and we kind of stretched it out over time. And innovation is often talked about as just that revenue bucket. It's just like new products. That's how people think innovation. And I think there's innovation in all these value buckets. So innovation to me is much broader than that. It is really innovative to find a way to reduce costs in a dramatically different way. And I use a lot of examples in my talks of kind of funny / interesting ways that might be very small, some change in a product or a process. All the way up to the business model. So innovation is really hard to define. It's obviously a new way of doing things. I think it's, to me, that this adding of certain adjectives to innovation is what matters. Disruptive or heretical, as I use it, is what's really critical. Because you can have incremental innovation, you can be always kind of moving along, but you also need to balance that with what's a deep change. And that's what I think the systemic challenges we face forces upon us, kind of deep changes to how we do things and how we think about them. And so innovation, I think, starts to bring in psychology, strategy, organizational behavior. I mean, every aspect of a business. It is about innovation. That's become the buzzword because we are facing constraints. And so innovation at core is really a way around constraints, whatever you want to call them. So I think I've probably never put it that way or thought of it that way until you asked me that question, but I think it is novel ways around the constraints that we face to create value in different ways.
When you talk about innovation, don't just talk about product innovation. It's also about design innovation. It could be about business model innovation. It could be process innovation. It could be any of those. And I believe
there's marketing innovation certainly going on. The social media is not just a buzzword. There's this partnering with the public, this working with stakeholders in whatever dimension, your own employees. You can open up an innovation platform. This whole idea of open innovation is really powerful. It's very hyped, and like all things, the hype will die down and you'll see the core that's left and how it really changes business. But it is changing business and society that everybody expects a voice now. That allows you to discover new things and kind of develop them with your customers, with your suppliers, with your employees in a very different way that the next generation is going to be much more comfortable with than probably we even are. That you just reach out to everybody and that it's open. That's new. That's very new.